Hello everybody, Rex and Don with NewTek here, and oftentimes people have been asking, how do I produce a professional video? And Don, what do we mean when we're talking about professional video?
Well, I think when people are asking that question, they're really asking, how do I make my video look like what I see on television? They watch TV, they see highly produced, slick-looking, engaging shows, and they want their videos to have that same kind of impact.
Yep, and television, of course, is a very powerful medium, and now with the internet, not only can you upload videos, but stream live, high-definition video to really a worldwide audience.
It allows people that couldn't get on TV to be able to deliver a message to that worldwide audience. And this is great for education, for schools to use it in many ways for their sports, their drama, their academia. Also things like churches and the corporate environment with annual meetings or trainings that they want to be able to do. All of this is now possible with the internet and video production.
Okay, so say for instance we're covering the classroom or a seminar setting, well, like this one. Here we have our Professor Kiki Stockhammer here that is going to be presenting. Hi Kiki, how you doing?
Unbelievable, we got her.
That's right. But she's going to be our subject today, and say for instance she's doing this presentation and we want to make a video of this. Now why not just shoot this with one camera?
Well, if you're shooting this with one camera, you're going to have a few issues. One of those is there's nothing to cut away to. So you're either going to have a static lockdown shot of your presenter like you see Professor Stockhammer here in the shot, and it's not really going to move a lot. We're just going to see her giving the presentation. But if she does have other things, she has charts, graphs, I'm going to have to pan, I'm going to have to zoom. There's no smooth way to get from one shot to another. So there's going to be unnecessary movement within the production, and it's just not going to look good.
Okay, so now let's look at another situation by just adding a camera, and in this case, just recording each of the cameras.
Well, now if you're going to work this way, you're going to end up with the footage on the cameras going to have to be edited afterwards. Now, this may work in some situations, but when you get very long events, then this editing process is going to become very long. You're going to have to capture all that media and edit it. It takes a long time. Now, there is another approach.
And that would be a multi-camera live switch situation.
Right. If you then take your multi-camera setup and you add a video mixer to it, this would allow you to take those two cameras and mix them into a single output, which could be recorded, and this could greatly reduce your editing time.
Okay, so let's look at that same seminar situation with Professor Stockhammer here, and now we've got three cameras, and on the side we have our switcher system, which in this case is the NewTek TriCaster. We have three cameras feeding in to that TriCaster.
So as you can see, you now have the ability to mix those three cameras into your program. You can cut between them, you can dissolve between them, makes it a much more enjoyable video production to watch.
And of course, if you're trying to do a live program, you're recording it live, and once you're done with it, you have the completed piece. There's really no editing needed.
That's right, but there may be times when you might want to edit. You can do that as well. You can still capture what you're recording in the cameras. You're going to have 95% of the editing done from the live production that you do. Now you just have to go back and maybe fix any mistakes that you made. A camera got bumped or the wrong camera was switched to, and your editing becomes 5% instead of 100%.
Okay, Don, now another important element of the production is lighting.
Well, that's right, Rex. It's not just capturing the images, but the images you capture need to look good. And that means they need to be lit correctly, not only with front lights, but sometimes even with lights from the back. You don't always have all your lighting options available, so it's nice to know what you can work with and what's available.
Okay, well let's take a look at that same seminar scene with Professor Stockhammer, only with just the room lights, and you can see, it's pretty tough to look at. Not you, Kiki, relax. We're just talking about the lighting here. But you can see that this is just the overhead room light, which is typical in most classrooms or hotel ballrooms, this sort of thing. Now here's the same scene, only using video lighting, and that's the lighting coming from the front, illuminating the subject matter properly, and you can see it makes a big difference in terms of the picture quality that you're going to get. Now let's talk about audio now. What about audio?
Well, when you talk about a live production, there's a lot of audio that you need to consider, not just audio coming from the talent. But let's talk about that just for a second. Your production is only going to look as good as it sounds, and I've heard some bad productions in my day.
Well, that's right. You probably heard audio that sounds like this. Now, this is the microphone that's just on the camera, and we hear this all the time. And this is a terrible way to record the audio, particularly in this type of a situation. You really need to have close miking. Now, in this case, we have lavalier microphones, or tie clip microphones, as they're sometimes referred to. But this puts the microphone very close to the mouth, the sound source, giving you a much tighter sound rather than that big roomy sound coming from the microphone far away. So again, look into these smaller tie clip style microphones.
Absolutely. Now, as I mentioned before, besides the audio that's going to be coming from the talent itself, there may be other audio sources during this live production. You might want to run a music bed, you might have audio that's associated with video clips that are playing back, and all of this audio needs to be mixed together into that single live production.
Right, requiring an audio mixer. Now here's the audio mixer we can see in the TriCaster as an example, and you can see the different audio sources that come in. We've got our microphone sources and our additional audio sources for audio clips or maybe video clips coming in, but all of those are being mixed into one single stereo mix for our final output audio. Okay, now that we have our lighting together, we have our sound, let's look at some of the other elements in this scene. We can see we have a projector here with some presentation material, graphics on it. Let's talk about bringing that into our video production.
Well, one way to do it would be to point a camera directly at that projector screen, and that way you've just got the camera coming in as an input to your video mixer, but this is not the best way to do it. It's probably going to give you about the lowest quality version of that input that you can have. Now, another way to do it would be to bring the display of the computer directly into your video mixer, either via something like a scan converter or a TriCaster.
Yes, in the TriCaster, actually all you need to do is connect a network cable from that computer to the network input of the TriCaster, and it brings the signal in directly to mix in with your other video sources. So, and you can see the example here. Here's the version with the camera on the projection screen versus the direct input from the computer into the switcher. And you can see it makes a big difference, much more legible and a much cleaner professional look. Now let's move on to graphics. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, any professional multi-camera production is going to have graphics, and these graphics are going to be lower thirds and full page, and this means a character generator. And this is an application that allows you to create these graphics and then integrate them into your live production.
Okay, so we're seeing, here's an example of the character generator in the TriCaster and setting up the different graphics that we're going to need. In this case, identifying Professor Stockhammer here. And yes, that's you, Kiki, that's right. So this is identifying her, or you also may use it to make additional emphasis on the subject matter or even full-page graphics, right?
Absolutely, and again, if you watch TV, you see these kinds of graphics, this allows your production to look like what people see on TV, and that's what we're trying to do.
So in your production, another thing that you're going to want to be able to do is roll in video clips.
Yeah, very often if you watch the news, for instance, you'll see videos roll in to add impact to the stories that people are talking about. Now, traditionally, this means you've got a media player, and you're going to be able to play back, maybe it's a DVD player, some sort of tape or electronic media playback that's going to come in as a source into your video mixer, and then that allows you to mix that video clip or that extra content in as part of that live production.
That's right, and if you're dealing with production with several different clips, the important thing is organization. We can see here in the TriCaster's media player that we have several clips, and you really want to have those clips organized so that when it comes time to play it back and the presenter's talking about it, then you can go directly to that video clip.
The last thing you want is to be hunting around for a clip or piece of content when it's needed right now in that live production.
Now, with all the technical aspects that we've been talking about, another important thing to consider is environment. We've been seeing an example of a seminar or classroom type of setting, but Don, what about doing a studio type of a show?
Well, you've got a couple of options when it comes to environment, and the first of those is the dreaded curtain on a rod behind the talent. Now, this is something we've all seen, but it doesn't look good, and it's very important that the environment of your show set the tone for your show. It really allows people to perceive the quality of your show, the quality of the environment that you're in. So instead of going with the curtain hanging behind the talent, maybe we break out the hammer and nails and we build an actual physical set, like the set that you see right here. Rex and I were up all late night last night building this set so that we could do this show for you guys. But again, we run into a problem with a physical set, and that is once you've built it, you're stuck with it.
Well, it takes up space. Now, if you don't have the space to build a physical set, another option is a virtual set. Virtual set allows you to use a fairly small space, but get a bunch of different looks. In fact, this set that we've created here, had we thought about it, we could have gone with a virtual set instead of a hard set like this. But actually, I'm kidding you, because we're in front of a green screen right now. We're using a virtual set because we're in a small space. But really, this gives you a lot of options in terms of being able to change your set out very, very quickly and really easily, right?
Well, and not only that, but when you're using a TriCaster, we have the ability to have different camera angles on that virtual set. So as you can see, I've got a camera angle for me, there's also a camera angle for Rex, and then our ever popular 2-shot, all within this virtual environment, but all done in a very small production area with just a little bit of green screen.
Yep. So all the things that we've been talking about, number of cameras, lighting, sound, graphics, these are all the things that you want to consider that add up to giving your video that professional look. Now, to find out more about TriCaster and other NewTek products, visit newtek.com and be on the lookout for more professional techniques videos coming your way. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. Professor Stockhammer, anything you want to add?
He's so light on his feet.
Okay, thanks, Kiki. Well, on behalf of Kiki, Don, and myself, thanks for watching.